Freedom Summer, or the Mississippi Summer Project, was a 1964 voter registration drive aimed at increasing the number of registered black voters in Mississippi. Over 700 mostly white voters joined African Americans in Mississippi to fight against voter intimidation and discrimination at the polls.
Who would then make you take a test, and inevitably, if you're African American, you fail.
You didn't write anything in there, you didn't pass it.
Stanley Nelson's new film is a deep and at times unsettling look at the brave women and men who fought for voting rights just 50 years ago.
You have your certificate showing that you are a registered voter.
Civil rights organizers in Mississippi had been fighting an uphill battle to register African Americans.
We must be stronger than the enemy.
They needed help from outside the state and looked north.
They invited 700 volunteers, mainly white college students.
Students who had no idea what they would be getting into.
One of the things that surprised me is there was tension.
Part of the frustration with the organizers was trying to say, this is what it's going to be like down there. They could see that the kids didn't really understand it.
You're going to wind up in jail. I suggest we be a little more serious about this thing.
But that would quickly and tragically change.
They went missing on the first day of Freedom Summer, the very first day.
On June 21st, 1964, three young activists, Andrew Goodman and Michael Schwerner from New York and James Chaney from Mississippi, vanished.
The people who understood Mississippi knew that they were never going to be found alive.
The bodies not discovered for 6 months. Those murders dramatized in the movie Mississippi Burning.
It put this kind of, shadow over the whole summer.
There were two major components to Freedom Summer. One, voter registration, which would be going door to door and asking people to go to the courthouse and register. Two, freedom schools. They would teach things they weren't allowed to teach. They couldn't teach about black literature, so freedom schools were meant to do just that. The Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, they said that they would send their own delegates to the Democratic National Convention at the end of August and challenge all white delegation to see who would represent Mississippi. The 1964 Freedom Summer Project got the nation's attention to the violent oppression experienced by Mississippi blacks who attempted to exercise their constitutional rights and to develop a grassroots freedom movement that could be sustained after student activists left Mississippi.